så tänkte vi köra igång
Oj, vad du hade långt upp.
den här sessionen.
Så.
Hjärtligt välkomna alla till Social Innovation Summit. Erika Augustinsson heter jag. Jag jobbar på Mötesplats social innovation, som ju är den samlande nationella plattformen för att främja social innovation och samhällsentreprenörskap i Sverige idag. Om ni vill twittra eller på annat sätt sprida information från den här sessionen i sociala medier så vill jag bara påminna om hashtaggen. Står där nere med SISummit16. Och nu så är det dags för vår session. Regeneration, en smart mix av gammalt och nytt. Regeneration på engelska. Och då tänkte jag lämna över ordet till vår facilitator moderator idag, Minoz. Också en av våra externa rådgivare som har jobbat väldigt länge med innovation och innovationspolitik, bland annat på Vinnova och på regeringskansliet. Och hon ska leda oss igenom den här sessionen idag. Va?
So, my name is Minoz, and since we have international guests, we're going to take this session in English, as you know. And the topic of today is regeneration. And this issue of mixing old and new and creating value together in new ways, in bringing communities together and bridging, not least, intergenerational gaps, is the theme of the 3 initiatives represented here today. So most of you have heard Sijpkes from Humanitas Deventer. I don't know if I get your name correctly yet. I've been practicing, but I'll get there. And Arvid Morin, who is representing Unga Omsorg, young care maybe. Young care in English. Yes, which is another initiative based in Sweden and bridging also intergenerational bridges. And Gunilla Lundberg, who is representing IT Guide, another initiative which is slightly different but also on the same topic. And just as some few words in view of introduction to this topic. It is really interesting to see how new ways of creating value in bringing communities together in new ways are really, I would say, exploding throughout the world. And this is in many ways, I would say, triggered by the realization of societal challenges, not least an aging community which we have in many countries, but also many pressured budgets from the public sector, but also elsewhere. But also, another strand of this, which I would like to highlight, is the emergence of what is called the collaborative economy, or the sharing economy, which is ways in which people or decentralized, distributed networks of individuals and communities come together and create value in new ways. I had the opportunity and the pleasure to work together with Forum for Social Innovation Sweden a couple of years back, which resulted in this small report, which is called ABC Kollaborativ Ekonomi. It's in Swedish. For those of you who are interested in reading more about these kinds of initiatives and the emergence of the collaborative economy, just come see me or pick it up at the website of socialinnovation.se. There are loads of different kinds of initiatives within the collaborative economy, which also kind of bring about the same connections in between generations as you do in your 3 initiatives. And I've come across many of these. One of these is Good Gym in the UK, which is about exercising and visiting elderly people, which is kind of getting people together in new ways. Another initiative in France is called Les Talents d'Alphonse, the talents of Alphonse, which is bringing together the skills of elderly to help young people. Another initiative, which I'm one of the initiators of here in Sweden, is One Roof, Two Generations, ett tak, två generationer, which is matching young people to live with elderly, like in Humanities Deventer. But first of all, I'd like to give you the opportunity to give some story, tell your story about the initiative. Could you start off, Gunilla, with IT Guide?
Yes.
Tell us.
Thank you. I saw a problem that young immigrants that is arriving to Sweden, they don't meet so many Swedish people, and they are struggling to learn Swedish and practice Swedish and learn more about the labor market and so on. So I met two guys, and that was the story that began with that they said to me, can you help us find a summer job? And I said, well, it's not so easy, but what are your skills? And they said, oh, we are good at computers. And they were about 17 years at that time, and now they are studying at the KTH, Technical School of, what do you say in English? Yeah, Royal Institute of Technology.
Royal Institute of Technology in Stockholm.
Yes,
yeah.
And I thought, oh, who wants to? They were good in computers, and who wants to learn about computers? And and I found out, oh, elderly people, they are at home in the summertime, and they have the time to meet these guys. So I talked to the municipality, and they said, okay, we can try. And then we set up this internet cafes for seniors, and they were working that summer. And
when was this?
This was 2010. And the thing is that they said to me, I love this job, I want to do it more. And I was a little surprised. And also the elderly people, they need to know a lot about telephones and computers and so on. So then we continued the next summer. And also people are coming, and the young people thought it was very fun, and they like it a lot. So then we have continued, and now we have starting in new municipalities. And this year we will be in 10 municipalities around Sweden.
Where did you start off? In what municipality?
We started in Örebro, and then we started in the municipalities around in the region. Yeah, and now we are in other region as well. So
that's in the center of
Sweden.
Yeah,
and the people and the municipalities we are working with, they love this concept. So they have asked us, can you start in our municipality?
That's interesting. Thank you so much, Gunilla. Arvid, tell us about Unga Omsorg.
Yes, hi everyone. Very happy to be here. The story of Unga Omsorg, it started in 2007, so next year it will be a 10-year celebration. But our idea when we started this, we were 19 years old, and we wanted to solve, it was two societal problems we saw. And
it was you and your colleague Benjamin.
Yeah, Benjamin, exactly, yes. Benjamin, he will arrive later to this conference. He was unavailable to come here. He has to attend a meeting this morning. But anyway, so the idea was, the first problem we saw was since we were quite young ourselves, we had a hard, like Gunilla was explaining, a very hard time to find part-time jobs, summer jobs. And we saw that almost all friends had the same experience. If you're not 18 in Sweden, it's very hard. You have to, because certain laws require you to handle your cash registers, and it's about if you want to work in the care sector, you need to be 18, and if you want to work with this and that, it's almost often 18 years old that is a limit.
So it's the younger you are, the more limited your possibilities are.
And in the same time, when you turn 18 and you apply for jobs, they often ask you for references. So it's a bit a catch-22 situation where it's hard to come into the first job because you need it to get the second and so on. And at the same time, we had old relatives living at, I think, äldre, a nursing home, maybe elder care home in Sweden. And we noticed that if you visit an older relative at the care home, they usually, not everyone is able to visit their relatives each weekend. So there are a lot of old people sitting there quite alone, and maybe some can talk to each other, but a lot of them, they're just hanging out in the weekend, so not very much happens there. And we saw that if you just stopped in the corridor and talked to an old person, you could really see that they started smiling, and someone you were talking to them, and they met a new person, and I mean the care person is doing a very good job. But it's always fun to meet new people. I think everyone feels the same way, and so we experienced that old people really enjoyed just meeting a new person, and especially a younger person that could tell them something about what life is like when you're young and so on. So these two we combined by thinking that we could make a summer project. So we started in the municipality of Växjö, and my home municipality is Järfälla, so Benjamin is from Småland. So we had some summer projects where young persons got a summer job by working at the care home to only do social activities with old people. Maybe sitting to play a game, or singing a song, or taking a walk, or just having a cup of coffee, or maybe looking at the electronics, or explaining the iPad, and this kind of whatever the old people felt like doing. And we find out that this was a very, very successful project. Both the old people was very happy with this, and all the young people as well. And they said they kind of find their bonus grandmother and a bonus grandchild. And some of them visited old people after the project, and everyone asked us to try to continue with this idea. And we thought that maybe the need is not only in the summers but all year around. So we started an all year round concept where a young person works during the weekends now. So in general 2 hours a young person come together with a group, and they go to the local elder care home and perform some social activities depending on like what the older people wants to do. So that is the idea. And we also found out that it's a hard time recruiting care personnel. Like not many people want to work in the care sector, and it's mostly due to you read the negative news in media that they show some areas of improvement definitely, but it's not the whole picture. The whole picture is something else, and that's something you experience when you visit a care home, not when you see a bad article about something that has gone wrong. So we also want to inspire the young people to continue and study in the care sector, and maybe shows vård- och omsorgsprogrammet on the gymnasium, because a lot of gymnasium have a hard time to fill up the vård- och omsorgsprogram. And that is also a mission. So we give them some, try to inspire them to what the Unga omsorg is the first step, but then we want you to, apply for the vård- och omsorgsprogram and keep working in the care sector. And I think that is if you like it, of course, but many tend to like it if they have just been there and visiting the old. So we started off in a small scale, me, Benjamin, and 8 persons, and today just for a few weeks ago, we started at our 100th elder care home in Sweden. So from north, it's in Haparanda on the Finnish border, and then we are down in Lund, is the southern care home right now. So it's around 800 young employees we have today.
Very interesting. Thank you so much, Arvid. You told your story before, Gea, but would you like to add something in relation to what you've heard about the other types, 2 initiatives?
Well, according to the other initiatives, we also started with social problems we saw in society, like loneliness for elderly and housing problem for students. So putting people together for a real reason, not a contrived one. And since we started in 2012, and we noticed that it has so much more to give. It adds value to each other's lives. The youngsters are on a very good manner. They grow up and they become adults. The parents of the students, they are very happy. But by saying yes to everything that comes to our doorstep, we also have teenage mothers bringing their babies in, and they love the experiences of the old grannies in the house. And we have mentally retarded people who are working in our garden, and the elderly are picking flowers from the garden. So it starts to become an inclusive. That's what I liked about Catherine. She had a dream from the inclusive society. And we started very small with only the elderly. And actually we're working now to the same goal or dream or whatever you want to say. So that's nice. You can take several directions as long as you want a bigger picture and a bigger thing. Then you can do a lot, and that's what I loved about the speech this morning from Catherine. Just do it, and everybody has a role, bigger, smaller, but everybody can do it, and that's the beautiful.
Yeah, I really liked the part in your keynote where you said that you redefined the business you were in, and you're not in the business of elderly care, but you're in the business of happiness.
That's what,
and
yeah.
trying to kind of better people's lives is what all your initiatives are all about, and trying to bring about new values in bringing communities together. Could you just describe a little bit what your initiatives have kind of had in terms of impacting people's lives, and what has it changed in the communities, in the interactions with perhaps municipalities and others? Who would like to start?
Well, I would like to start.
Yeah.
Because I had only a very small part of the story in 10 minutes. But I like the idea that it is a business, and you can talk about it like business, not charity, not anything too soft. But the idea of elderly living into our house also makes that our house is very healthy. It's healthy socially, but it's also healthy financially, because the mood is good and everybody wants to be part of the story. And so I get all my contracts with the people who are funding care in Holland. I'm often in the newspapers. It makes people proud. They want to work with me, so I don't have a labor problem. So it works all, the circle is getting bigger and bigger. So that's for the organization. It works for the elderly themselves. They're on the photograph with Japanese or Chinese or Norwegian people. Well, they've never been out of Deventer, because that's a generation who didn't travel that much. So they really have to show something off to their grandchildren instead of only the other way around and waiting. Well, I can go on and on, so I'll first let my other one go. But
new
I'm very
perspectives for
enthusiastic.
everyone.
Yeah, but it's really also a business. You're bringing together real interests, and that's not dirty or something, because care is often soft or charity or whatever. But I think when we really look at it in also an economic way or a business way, and we say, well, we're in the business of happiness. I also say it to my new employees, even to the ones who are helping us out in the holidays. Everybody is here for the same reason, to bring that smile a day, to bring that bit of happiness in the last few years. And if you go all the same direction, then, wow, it becomes a beautiful place.
Yeah, I think the same is there's so many win-win situations when you combine the generations, I think. And just for speaking, for the old ones, it's quite obvious they get to, if something is happening at the home, many tell us that the highlight of the week is when the young persons come and they bring in the stories of the week, what happened in school this weekend. Well, and they can show Facebook maybe how it works today if you want to date someone. The old people, they had to bicycle for 2 hours to the dance maybe, and the young person says, well, you just take the phone and you flip here, you have the photos of all the boys in the class or the girls in the class, and then, they, and they're like, whoa, I was definitely born in the wrong century. And then for the young persons, it's, I think, we try to kind of kill the myth about the care sector a lot. So we have started, when we want to make the young persons proud of working with us and being part of a movement. So we had this, for example, we have an Instagram account that circulates. So each team, they get a week where they can take some pictures from their care home and post on our Instagram. And then next week it's another team, and it goes around. So it's kind of want to create the feeling that if you're working with us, you're not just doing something on your own that you can see, but you're also part of a bigger movement where young persons do this together all over the country. And by doing that, we also want to kind of make it more, to create a more sense of proud to work in the care sector, because usually the vård och omsorg program is maybe the last choice if you want to study, or working in the care sector could be the last choice for many. And it's a bit sad. because I think a lot of people don't know that they actually want to work in the care sector because they have never been in the care sector. I mean, my parents and Benjamin's parents are working in the care sector, so we've heard the discussions at the dinner table. But if you haven't, and you only think about the care sector as what you read in the newspaper, then it's quite obvious that you don't want to work there, because it's also a lot of negative media. But when you actually visit a care home, and as you see, you meet the people, you see the happy faces, and I think that is a lot of people is missing that when they are young and they're thinking about their future, and then maybe they've seen the TV shows, and I want to be something that you see it on TV, something that is cool, maybe being working at a cool office, but maybe it's not really what you want to do, and. So we also try when young people apply for the job, it's important that we have, everybody goes to interviews, it's a recruitment process, everybody get a good education, we have an e-learning education, you have to complete the test before you start to work, to sort of show them that this is not just something you happen to start because but you have to apply and you have to fight in order to get the position in our organization. And when we started off in the municipality of Bollnäs here recently this spring, we had, I think, around 160 applicants for 40-50 positions. So
wow.
When we tell the young persons that it was 100 people applying for this job that didn't get it, so you have to be proud that you're here, and then you can really see they're getting prouder and getting self-confidence.
And do you experience that you have been building an awareness of a more interesting career choice for people in the care sector?
Yeah, definitely. I think so. We've asked in several different years, but around 40% of former employees is considering to continue to work or study in the care sector. So I think that's a bit higher than average.
Gunilla?
Yes, we have also this kind of application. So all the young people that want to join us, they need also application, and they have to interview and so on. So, and our keyword is inclusion. It's inclusion for the young people and also inclusion for the elderly people, because they need to be included in the digital world. And to our internet cafes, we are in healthcare center and at the library, so we invite all the elderly people in the municipality. So everybody are free to come. And the elderly people, they get very active and in digital media and so on, and they can meet new people. They get more socialized, you say that? Yeah. And also the young people, they meet new people, so they wouldn't meet no other way. And they also get the leadership. We said that these young people, they are very positive role models for other young people who are very keen to know, how do I get included in this society? I don't know how to do. So they can always ask our young people how they did and get inspired of them. And also they get very motivated for the future. When they talk to these people, the elderly people, they tell them their stories, how their life was, what they have worked with, and their studies and so on. So they get very inspired and motivated for the future. And of course, the language development. And then we said that for us it's very important that the young people, they get godkända betyg. Vad säger man då?
They succeed in the studies.
Yes, and they get the exam from the high school. And if you are going to do that, you have to know how to communicate in Swedish. And also the belonging, because when you're a young immigrant, you're very often quite alone, and you don't have so many friends. And then we started to build this team so that you feel safe in the team, and also
the peers together, the peers, young people together.
Yes, so there is a lot of win-win situation in this model we have worked out.
One interesting aspect that I've heard in all your initiatives, in a sense, is that you start kind of getting across from the stereotypes of what young people are or what senior citizens are all about, and you kind of arrive at a point where you try more to look at each other as individuals. Is that your sense too? It's kind of that was my really powerful experience in our initiative when we work with bringing together senior citizens and young people. You have so many stereotypes about what are senior citizens all about, and what do they like, what do they not like, etc. And when you bring people together, it all changes, and the relationships kind of evolve from new perspectives. Would you like to comment upon that?
Yes, definitely. I think you're definitely right. It's something we also want to. That's what we experience when if we're out to maybe have information on a school and try to find young people who want to join the project. It's everybody has they have a lot of prejudice against old people, so they say like, oh, isn't that nasty to work there, and aren't they like boring and they're just sitting there, and so you have to try. You try to talk to them a bit, and we say like, but try it for a while, and if you don't like it, you can always quit. But I think you owe it to yourself to try it, and then when we have the education, we kind of tell the young person that the goal is to kind of hear the old people's life story now, try to ask them questions. What have they been doing since they were young? The jobs, the families, and then the old people, they tell this life story about their life, and maybe some of them lived during the war, for example, the Second World War, and we, so it's can get the best history lessons for the young persons. Then you kind of take away the myth about old people as a concept, but instead they find the different individuals that are very similar to themselves. And
You have more in common than you think. Gunilla?
Yeah, and also for us it's very important that the seniors, they don't meet any immigrants. And also they have a lot of thoughts about how it is, and now they can ask the questions to these people, to the young people, how it is to live in Sweden, where they come from, and about the religion, and why they use this kind of clothes they have, and so on. So they can.
You highlighted before, that these senior citizens often maybe haven't traveled as much, and they kind of discover a more international world through the young people.
By the iPad of the young ones. And one of my students once was with me to a conference where he also spoke about his experiences living in an elderly home. And he said they become human. And he meant that before he raced next to Humanitas to his school, and he saw all the windows and the grey hats. But they were just a group, and you never can love a group or connect with a group. You can connect to a person, but not to a group. So now his neighbor and the one who is living in front of him. So in the meeting people, then it's only possible to like someone or dislike someone. But then it's not about groups, and that's the same with immigrants. It's the same with racial things. So you have to meet and be interested in each other's stories as a human being.
Yes. About your initiatives, you've been quite successful, the three of you, I would say, and you have won awards, you've had quite a bit of media attention, all of you, throughout your journey. If you could kind of summarize, what are some of the main challenges that you have met and that you're perhaps still struggling with, and what are some of the success factors that you have kind of learned from your journeys? Would you like to share those?
Should I? Yeah. For us, I think many projects can experience the same thing. If you start in a small scale, like when we started on just a few homes, and it was always Benjamin was working at every time there was a young person that we were also present at the same home. It's very easy to our idea what should happen, and we could help the young people and so on. But then the second summer we started at many homes, so we couldn't be present ourselves at each home.
The scaling up challenge.
Exactly, so it's definitely a challenge when you're scaling up, and to keep the spirit and the culture, and to kind of, so it's been a lot about working with, when every time when you employ a person, you have to make sure you had taken the right persons, and also have a very thorough follow-up all the time with everyone, that it's working in the right direction, and and we try to also, organize a lot of meetings outside, so young persons from different homes meet together with meetings that it's not about meeting old people, but instead meeting each others and discussing and sharing ideas and thoughts with each other, and then we have a very good opportunity to you can listen. It's fun. It's like the best classroom ever when we get these young persons together, because everybody is very into it, and they discuss, and so that's a way of keeping sure that everything is on track. And if we find out that maybe some home is not working as it should, then we pay a lot of attention. We go there and we have maybe workshops and team buildings and so on to ensure. But that is definitely a challenge. But when you
keeping the culture while scaling up.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think, speaking from an organization point, that you should leave things out instead of do things. We are very used to act on things that happen, and what we have to do is just let go. It's part of life, it's part of living environment. So in the first week, one of my students came home with a couple of friends, and the elevator was smelling to alcohol, and it was 4 o'clock in the morning, I don't know, whatever. So I received a note from the nurses in charge of the night shift, and they said, Anna was getting home with 2 of her friends, and the lift smelled to alcohol. And I said, okay, and was anybody bothered? Or no, actually not. So, well, okay. So we have to not do instead of do. And let it go, give it space, let it grow.
Maybe
you have to trust
on some of the control.
Our control reflexes are bothering us, yes, and we also think too much in risks, because if I had first made a business plan, I probably wouldn't even have started.
Yes.
And now I just started it with just one student, and just go and see what happens. And well, it's 4 years later, 5 years later, and we do have a great elderly home. So I think we need to just don't think in risks too much, and let go. Give it a try in the space and the freedom where people meet, and trust younger people. They are good. I mean, the elderly don't need protection everywhere, and the youngers are not just sex, drugs, and rock and roll. They're also good people. So that's about the prejudice we just talked about.
Yes.
I think there are a lot of chances outside.
Gunilla?
Yeah, we have been a little bit scared about scaling up, because we know that there is going to be a lot of new problems to solve.
Yes.
We have never been scared about if our model is working or not. We know it works. So, and also there's difficult also to find a business model. There is not so many people to talk about how to solve the finance, so on. And so also you need to, also when you scale, you need to hire people, and it's expensive. So you need a lot of money first, and then you can hire people. And then, so now we are in that position that we have people on place, so now we can scale.
So you need to bring on the right skills to
Yes.
be able to develop the
Yes.
activities further.
Yeah, so there's a lot of work.
Absolutely. I thought that this might be the time to bring you all into the conversation. I guess that some of you might have questions or comments or something that you would like to share with the rest of us. I think Isabella is somewhere here, and she has a mic as well. Is there any questions or comments from anyone? Yes, I can go here.
Hi, thank you very much. My name is Ebba Åkerman. I come from a nonprofit called Invitationsdepartementet. My question is all about scaling, and it's basically to all of you. For example, Gunilla, you say when you start in a municipality, do you work with the municipality when you start a new organization? So is it very much towards sort of the state-funded or the municipality-funded sector? And also for Arvid, you have 100 homes now. And how do you go about approaching new homes, and how has that process been? And also for Gia, like how has this idea spread to other homes, and how is that growing in the Netherlands and around the world? Thank you.
Thank you, Ebba, for a great question. Yes, who would like to start?
Well, we are an NGO, and we collaborate with the municipality, and that's a huge challenge. And you have to find the right person that likes your concept, because you can't just phone to the municipality and say, hello, do you like me or not? It's not working. You have to find the right person, and that person can continue the discussion inside the municipality.
Finding the right people within the municipality,
Yes.
that's the thing. Yeah. How about you, Arvid?
I think it's very much the same. It's about, we have to kind of You have a content, and it takes a long time. But you have to. We try to work with the challenges that maybe the municipality has the same challenges that we are solving. So sometimes they're working very good with maybe some projects similar to our idea on their own, but sometimes they feel like we want to do this, but we haven't really got the time yet to start, and that's when we can connect and we can help them. But it's a lot about just keeping in touch and meeting people.
The right people.
Yeah.
Again, yes. Yeah.
Yeah, in the beginning, I started because I believed in it. So only until 2014, 2015, I realized that several people came to look and people from abroad. So I'm now in the phase that I try to make it duplicatable. I'm in contact with Professor Green in England, and he's working in the care in England, and we're trying to make some set of principles or something like that, because in Holland a few organizations tried it, but it failed because there was no heart in the story. You have to first realize yourself, why do I want to do this, and how fits it in your whole organization. So I had the first copy of the set of principles. It's just not a tryout, but I have it with me, so everybody who wants to see it. It's about organizations, it's about small things, it's about telling the story, inspire each other, then it grows. It's about first asking yourself questions. In what market am I, or what business am I in, or what fits to my community? So there are a few things I try to spread. So if anybody likes them, I'll have them with me.
That's great. Thank you so much. So more questions or comments, maybe? Yes.
My name is Paul, coming from student code in Malmö University. This is a question for all three of you, or a comment. Have you ever considered collaborating with local student associations that, like speaking from my own personal experience, a lot of associations are always looking into the aspect of collaborating with these such events that are kind of contributing to the local societies, let it be small communes and cities. So from your experience, have you ever worked with those, or if not, would you like to work with said student associations?
So the role of student associations in collaborating with the local community, is that correct?
Yeah.
Hmm?
I can start.
Yeah.
When we started our idea, we were still studying, so it's very natural. The student association, we were also part of it at our school and so on. But in our case, the young persons we are employing are usually around 14, 15, 16 years old. So we are not really working, and they seldom there are student organization at högstadium, but instead we try to work with different schools with the studie- and yrkesvägledare, the ones that are guiding for future studies. So we want to collaborate with them so they know about the project and they can help young persons who maybe consider the care sector to find us, and they can get in touch with us and follow us on Instagram, and they can apply for jobs.
So it's from the angle of career development and attracting people to do these kinds of
but maybe we could, we're thinking maybe for like older leaders, maybe a student organization at the university could be more suitable, but it's a bit tricky because we need one person. So but we're thinking, we're having it in mind if we figure out any good way.
Could be interesting then.
Yeah, we have also been talking about that. Also, when we are looking for young leaders, when we started in municipalities, our young people, they are in the gymnasium, so they are not from university. But we have had students from university that has been written, what do you say?
Thesis. Thesis?
Yes, about us. So.
I don't want to work with you. And that's because I don't believe in institutes working together. That's over the head of people again. So I believe that innovative things and is by the right people, but that's from people to people and not from institute to institute. That's why.
So you have a preference to working with the people on the ground rather than their organizations?
Individuals,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
Institutes has well, they're more stubborn. They believe in their own existence. Sorry. So, I think the innovative things are from people to people, and just well, try little things and etc.
Other questions? Yes.
For 3 organizations, I'd like to know how the revenue structure look like of your activities. Revenue structure.
The revenue structure. Yeah.
How do you carry on sustainable your organization?
Yeah.
How do you devise a sustainable business model and get revenues? Yes. Who would like to start?
We get paid from the care homes. So from the care homes where the nursing homes, the elder, where the old people live, yeah. So it's about, we have to sort of show them that the benefit of sometimes they have young people on their own, but it takes a lot of time to, handle young persons when you want to employ them and educate them, lead them and everything. So it's about for us to show that we can, you don't have to think about this if you're working with us. So we take care of everything, and it just comes a group of organized young persons that know what to do when they come to the home. So it's about, so we need to convince them that it's a good idea, that we can help them with this.
And we have money from the municipality and also from the Länsstyrelsen.
The regions.
And also from some, what do you say, stiftelser? Foundations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Charities.
Charities, yes. And now we're trying to find out a more sustainable model for the finance. So in the year we will get it in place, I hope.
So you're working on your business model?
Yes.
Yeah.
And for me, it's a bit more complicated to explain in just 1 minute. It's the change of system in Holland, the care system, and it meant that quite a lot of people who didn't need very complex help or care were not allowed in the houses anymore. So that meant if I wouldn't act and did nothing, that my house wouldn't exist for over the years anymore. So by doing what I did, I have a very good name. Everybody wants to live with me. Daughters want their mothers to come in and live with me. So I have full house now. And my daily business model is based on the income of 160 care needing elderly. So it works both ways. The big picture is the good name, the image, the full house. People want to live with me. And the other one is just make sure that you don't give out more than you get in.
So it's basically about being more attractive as a care home.
Yeah.
Elderly pays to live with you?
No. It's government funded, okay. But the elderly can choose to which house they are going to live. And because of the group cannot come into our house anymore due to this change of system, there's big overcapacity. So it's quite attractive to live with us.
Thank you.
This is a question for you, Gia. As I understood by a previous answer, I guess it's a private company you have.
No,
no, it's a public. Okay, because that the relevance of my question is: do you think this idea you brought to have a mixture of student accommodation combined with elderly homes? Do you think it's easier to do it in a now? You succeeded with a public-run elderly home, but would it be just as easy in a private elderly home, private-owned elderly home?
Well, yes, by the set of principles I made, starting thinking your question over how duplicatable it is, I think the most important thing is that the home, whether private or public, starts with the question, what do I want to achieve? How can I achieve it in tangible goals? And then you have to organize your dream. So I don't think it's the question whether it's public or private.
It's a question of getting the goals and the dream right. Yeah. More questions or comments? Yes, Ebba.
So coming back to the students, how many students have lived there, and how did you find them saying that you don't want to work with the student association?
Well, in the beginning, I thought about working with a school. I thought if the students have to be in their educational program, they're free. Maybe they can live with me for half a year or something. But it was so terribly hard to discuss with school, and then it has to that group, and then they had a 3-month holiday, and I thought, okay, I'll do it on my own. So I first just noted it in a school on a board, and one guy reacted. So we went into conversation, and I said, okay, I don't know how it's going to work.
So you started with one particular student?
Yeah, he reacted to my question, and we said, okay, what are we going to do and how are we going to do it? So we found it out together. And nowadays, since the model is widely known and things like that, the students put it on their Facebook, and then they get a lot of reactions, and then they have one evening and they meet all the guys and girls who reacted. So we have more blonde girls since then. And they give me a few names and say, okay, you have to meet these. I have a conversation, but the conversation is not the most important thing. The most important thing is that I take them with me into the home and I see how they react on elderly. Whether they're outspoken, whether they're polite, whether they're nice to elderly, if they know how to contact. So, 6. I've got 6 floors, and all floors is one student.
Okay. Looking into a little bit of the future, what would you like to see develop, and what kind of inspirations maybe are you looking at? Are there some initiatives that have attracted your attention, something that you are aspiring to going forward?
I'm actually getting very inspired by you right now.
That's great. That's the whole purpose of this seminar.
Yeah, but it's very interesting. I think there's so many ways to find different ways of connecting young and old. It's because and the same here you have old people more living at home, and we are more working with the ones living at caring homes. So we're trying to figure out more ways to maybe connect old and young people, but at other areas. But it's hard to. It's easy to start in a small, but you have to find something that is that you think that is easy to manage. That it's actually it's not. We have tried a little with people having hemtjänst in Sweden, but I think as Gunilla also said, it could be a challenge with getting old people to actually they have to come to a meeting point, and that could be tricky sometimes because old people don't usually just walk to a new place if they're not really getting used to it, and it's so that was a bit tricky. But here it's easy when the students actually live. It's a good way because normally students wouldn't go to an elder care home voluntarily, just without any organization or something helping them with it. It could either be an organization that can help you, or you can actually live there. I think it's a fantastic initiative, and so. And we actually talked to a girl from Australia who was I don't know how she found us, but she contacted us on Skype, and she was doing also an organization that was about creating meetings between old people and young people, and so that's basically what we are looking more ways of doing the same thing.
Yeah, and also we are also inspired by you, and also how we can build a network with these young immigrants and how we can develop their skills even more. So we are looking at that, and also about this gender. What you say? Skills, with change the skills. Also, very nice to meet you too.
Thank you. Well, I like to hear more about your idea, but for Humanitas, I like I said, we're connected with also the teenage mothers and youngsters living in a flat block next to Humanitas who are too vulnerable to live in the community themselves. And so they come to us for the daily structure and the daily questions. And so I want circles around my house, bigger and bigger, so that we make that inclusive society.
So you open up to the surrounding communities.
And more are coming to us, and so we can be the backbone of our Deventer. That's one, and the other one is I try to make a set of principles, as I just said, to try to duplicate, and well, everybody who can get the smile a day, I love that. So that's where I'm working on with a professor in the UK.
That's really interesting. I think an interesting idea that I would like to kind of explore together with you would be to kind of gather these kinds of initiatives who are actually focusing on bringing generations together in new ways, because there are a whole host of them. And I think that what you just said is kind of really testimonial to my thought, which is really we have a lot to learn from each other in between these initiatives, because there are a lot of win-win to create in between them as well. So that was something that I would like to explore with you going forward.
Yes, I actually think the Australian girl I was mentioning, she was thinking about starting an organization for organizations and companies and working with this question.
Maybe she's already on track.
I'll tell you if she is come up with anything.
Let's connect to her. We're kind of getting to the end of this session. Is there any question or comment you would like to pose before we round up? Because soon there is to be lunch. And I wouldn't like to delay you for lunch, or you wouldn't appreciate that, I think. So is there any question you would like to pose while our speakers are here? If not, I'd like you to kind of sum up what are your main insight, main learnings, both for yourselves, that you really feel are important to develop and scale up an initiative such as yours, and what could be valuable for people wanting to do similar things.
One insight for us, it's like in the beginning when we were working on a very small scale, you know, you want to do, you totally commit to it very much. And for example, you know, we made a home-cooked dinner for all the new employees when we had the kick-off night and so on. But once we started at several more homes, we realized we have to start thinking about, will it be possible to always that we can make a home-cooked dinner for all the new employees? Maybe not. Maybe if it's 5, but maybe. Yeah. But sometimes you have to. You realize that, and that's a lesson. That maybe quite early start thinking when you kind of you get your processes and your routines and how do we do our idea, whatever it is. To start thinking that not add too much complexity, but try to think from the beginning. Can we do this if we're doing this all around the country? If not in a good way, maybe we should try to narrow it down, even though, you always want to do a lot and put a lot of energy in a lot of things, but maybe you sometimes have to constrain yourself, because if you can't keep the same level of commitment when you scale up, you tend maybe to lose the culture. Maybe people feel like your organization becomes, you're losing the spirit when you scale up, so you have to kind of keep the spirit in a level that you can keep if you scale. So to keep the commitment and succeed with scaling, you need to keep things as simple as you can. Yeah.
Gunilla? It's the same for us. In the beginning, I was doing a lot of coaching and preparing all the young people for the jobs and so on. But then I found out that I need other people to teach the new ones. So now we are training a lot of young people so they can train the others. So, and that's not so easy, but it's very fun. Yeah.
So that's an important point.
Yeah, so the train the trainers, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As a principle. Yeah.
Well, I've got mine here.
You got your principles. Who you're willing to share with anyone who is interested. That's quite fantastic. So, summing up, I would like to thank you very much. With Isabella's help, getting some presents across from Forum for Social Innovation and the organizers. And thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and your ideas and your experiences. A big hand for our speakers. Thank you so much. So, lunchtime.